Before you close your eyes tonight, take a brief moment to appreciate something you probably haven't thought about all day. Your bed. Whether it's soft or firm, expensive or simple, it almost certainly offers more comfort than the sleeping place of nearly every person who lived before the modern age. Now imagine that, just for one night, your mattress disappears, your pillow vanishes, your blanket becomes a rough piece of woven fabric. The room around you changes. The gentle hum of electricity fades into silence. The comforting glow of a bedside lamp is replaced by the trembling flame of a tiny oil lamp. The air no longer smells of freshly washed sheets. Instead, it carries the scent of smoke, damp earth, straw, animals, and old wood. Outside, wolves howl somewhere beyond the darkness. Inside, insects crawl through the floor. You have no alarm clock, no heating, no fan, no air conditioning, no certainty that you'll wake up exactly where you fell asleep. Welcome to bedtime, thousands of years ago. Good evening and welcome back. Tonight we're taking a journey through history, not to witness great battles or the rise of mighty empires, but to experience something far more personal. Something every human being has done since the beginning of time: sleep. It seems so ordinary, so effortless. Most of us end each day by brushing our teeth, changing into comfortable clothes, climbing beneath clean blankets, adjusting a pillow, perhaps checking our phones one last time and drifting peacefully into sleep. It's a routine so familiar that we rarely stop to think about it. But for most of human history, bedtime was often the most uncomfortable part of the day. Sometimes it was also the most dangerous. Tonight we'll travel across thousands of years and several civilizations to discover where people slept, what they slept on, and why a good night's rest was often a luxury reserved for only a fortunate few. We'll visit dark caves where every strange sound might signal a hungry predator. We'll step into the homes of ancient Egyptians, where even pillows look nothing like the ones we know today. We'll spend restless nights in crowded Roman apartments, where noisy neighbors, smoke, and insects made peaceful sleep almost impossible. We'll warm ourselves inside Viking longhouses, where fire never completely chased away the cold. And finally, we'll enter medieval homes, where entire families often shared a single bed while fleas and lice enjoyed the warmth just as much as the people did. As always, our journey isn't meant to frighten you. Quite the opposite. History has a curious way of making us appreciate the quiet comforts surrounding us: the mattress beneath you, the pillow supporting your head, the roof above your home, even the simple certainty that you probably won't be awakened by a wild animal wandering into your bedroom. Those are luxuries that billions of people throughout history never experienced. So tonight, allow your breathing to slow, let your shoulders relax. Imagine that you're not in your own room anymore. Instead, you're a traveler, a silent visitor drifting gently through time. You won't change history, you'll simply observe. You'll quietly step inside homes separated by thousands of years, watching ordinary people prepare for another ordinary night. The stars above them are familiar. The moon is the same one we see today. Yet almost everything else feels wonderfully and sometimes surprisingly different. Our first destination lies so far back in time that there are no cities, no kingdoms, no roads, no written language, only forests, mountains, rivers, and the endless rhythm of nature. The sun sinks below the horizon, shadows stretch across the landscape, birdsong fades, the temperature begins to fall. A small group of hunter-gatherers gathers around a crackling fire at the entrance of a cave. They have spent the day searching for food, collecting berries, tracking animals, and carrying everything they own across miles of rugged land. Now, exhausted, they prepare for the night. There are no bedrooms, no doors to lock, no windows to close, only darkness waiting patiently beyond the circle of firelight. One by one, they spread fresh grass, dry leaves, and animal skins across the rocky ground. This is their bed. It isn't soft, it isn't warm, but it is better than sleeping directly on cold stone. The oldest members of the group settle closest to the fire. Children sleep beside their parents. Hunters remain near the edge of the shelter where they can quickly grab a spear if danger appears. Every sleeping position has a purpose. The fire is carefully maintained throughout the night, not only for warmth, but for survival. Beyond the flickering light, unseen eyes may already be watching. A wolf, a hyena, perhaps even a great cave lion. For them, the darkness is alive. Every snapping twig, every distant growl, every rustling bush could mean something is approaching. Sleep comes lightly. No one drifts into the deep, uninterrupted sleep that many of us enjoy today. Someone always wakes, someone always listens, someone always feeds another piece of wood into the flames. Because if the fire dies, the night suddenly becomes much more dangerous, and for thousands upon thousands of years this was simply normal. No mattresses, no pillows, no bedtime stories beneath electric lights. Just this quiet hope that morning would arrive before anything hungry did. And so, as the fire crackles gently against the darkness, our journey through history's most uncomfortable nights truly begins. The first real beds, ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. Morning arrives slowly along the banks of the Nile. The darkness retreats from the desert one gentle shade at a time. Golden sunlight touches the tops of towering palm trees before spilling across fields of barley and flax. Fishermen push their narrow boats into the calm river. Bakers begin kneading dough while the scent of fresh bread drifts through the narrow streets of small villages. Ancient Egypt is waking. If you've imagined Egyptian life as one of endless luxury, glittering gold, and enormous pyramids, you are not entirely wrong. But tonight we are not visiting the palace of a pharaoh. Instead, we quietly step into the home of an ordinary family preparing for another day. Their house is built from sun-dried mud bricks. The thick walls help keep the interior cool beneath the relentless desert sun. The rooms are simple. A few clay jars stand neatly against one wall. A wooden chest stores clothing and precious belongings. Everything has its purpose. Nothing is unnecessary. When evening eventually returns and the day's labor is complete, the family prepares for bed. But something immediately catches your attention. No one sleeps directly on the floor. Instead, before you stands something remarkably familiar. A bed. Not the kind you know today. No soft mattress waits invitingly beneath fresh cotton sheets. No thick duvet promises warmth. Yet this simple wooden frame represents one of humanity's greatest inventions. For perhaps the first time in history, many people have deliberately lifted themselves above the ground while they sleep. It may seem like a small change. In reality, it transformed the night. Sleeping above the floor meant fewer insects crawling across sleeping bodies. Scorpions, beetles, and countless tiny creatures were less likely to become unwanted companions before dawn. Air also moved more freely beneath the bed. During Egypt's sweltering nights, even the slightest breeze provided welcome relief. The bed itself is surprisingly narrow. Its wooden frame gently slopes downward toward where the feet will rest. Modern historians still debate exactly why many Egyptian beds were designed this way. Perhaps it prevented sleepers from sliding during the night. Perhaps it reflected ideas about posture. Whatever the reason, lying upon one would feel strangely unfamiliar to modern visitors. Across the frame, tightly woven leather strips support the sleeper. Instead of springs or memory foam, these leather cords carry the body's weight. Above them rests a simple mattress stuffed with reeds, straw, or linen. Comfortable? Perhaps by ancient standards. Luxurious? Hardly. Still, compared with sleeping upon bare earth, it feels almost revolutionary. Then your eyes move toward what should be the pillow, except there isn't one. Instead, resting carefully near the head of the bed is an object unlike anything found in most modern bedrooms. A curved wooden stand, smoothly carved, elegant, beautiful, yet astonishingly hard. This is the famous Egyptian headrest. Rather than supporting the entire head with soft fabric, it supports only the neck. The head remains elevated while the hair rests untouched. At first glance, it appears remarkably uncomfortable. Surely no one could sleep peacefully on something made entirely of polished wood. Yet for thousands of years, millions of Egyptians did exactly that. There were practical reasons. The desert climate made thick cushions hot and unpleasant. Elevating the head also discouraged insects from crawling across the face. Some scholars believe the headrests help preserve elaborate hairstyles, an important consideration for wealthier Egyptians. Others suggest religious beliefs played an equally important role. The head was considered especially significant. Supporting it properly carried symbolic meaning beyond simple comfort. Many beautifully carved headrests have even been discovered inside tombs. The dead, it seemed, required somewhere to rest their heads in the next world as well. For ancient Egyptians, sleep itself occupied a mysterious place between life and death. Dreams fascinated them. Priests sometimes interpreted dreams as messages from the gods. Certain temples even welcomed visitors seeking divine guidance through sleep. A troubling dream might inspire caution. A peaceful dream might offer reassurance. Night was never merely darkness. It formed a quiet bridge between the human world and something greater. Of course, not every Egyptian enjoyed raised wooden beds. Wealth determined comfort just as it does today. Ordinary farmers often slept upon woven reed mats laid across the floor. These mats could be rolled away during daylight, allowing precious living space to serve multiple purposes. Simple linen blankets provided warmth during surprisingly cool desert nights. Children frequently slept together. Entire families shared small rooms. Privacy, as modern people understand it, scarcely existed. Beyond the cities, life remained even simpler. Farm workers rose before sunrise. Long days beneath the Egyptian sun left little energy for elaborate bedtime rituals. Sleep arrived quickly, yet even peaceful villages possessed nighttime hazards. Mosquitoes gathered near the Nile. Their constant buzzing became an unwelcome companion after sunset. Smoke from small household fires drifted through homes. Occasionally, a curious snake sought shelter from the evening chill. Every night carried small uncertainties. Meanwhile, inside the magnificent palaces of nobles and officials, beds became works of art. Some featured carved animal legs resembling lions or sacred cattle. Others displayed intricate ivory decorations or precious metals. Fine linen sheets covered carefully prepared mattresses. Servants arranged sleeping chambers before their masters retired for the evening. Luxury certainly existed, but even the finest Egyptian bed remained considerably firmer than the average mattress many people enjoy today. As centuries passed, another civilization flourished between the great rivers of the Tigris and Euphrates, Mesopotamia, often called the cradle of civilization. Here, too, people gradually refined the art of sleeping. Their homes clustered closely together along busy streets. Mud brick buildings sheltered families from scorching summers and chilly winter nights. Raised sleeping platforms became increasingly common among wealthier households. Wood, however, remained scarce in much of Mesopotamia. Unlike Egypt, where the Nile supported trade and transport, quality timber often had to be imported from distant lands. As a result, elaborate wooden furniture represented wealth. Most ordinary people relied upon woven reed mats spread across elevated platforms or directly upon carefully prepared floors. Reeds were everywhere. Growing abundantly along riverbanks, they became one of Mesopotamia's most valuable natural resources. People built baskets from them, roofs, boats, walls, and sleeping mats. Layer upon layer of woven reeds created surprisingly durable surfaces. Although not soft, they insulated sleepers from cold ground remarkably well. Nighttime inside Mesopotamian cities brought different sounds than prehistoric camps. Gone were the distant howls of wild predators. Instead came barking dogs, braying donkeys, voices drifting through narrow streets, the occasional clatter of carts returning late from market. Civilization had changed the soundtrack of bedtime forever. Safety improved in some ways. New inconveniences appeared in others. Cities rarely became completely silent. Oil lamps illuminated homes after sunset. Unlike open campfires, these lamps burned slowly using olive oil or sesame oil. Their small flames cast dancing shadows across mud brick walls. The scent of burning oil lingered gently in the air. Families gathered together until sleep gradually overtook them. Then, one by one, the lamps were extinguished. Darkness returned. True darkness. No streetlights pierced the night. No glowing screens illuminated bedrooms. Only moonlight entered through small openings in the walls. The stars appeared astonishingly bright. Looking upward, ancient people saw a sky almost unimaginable today, crowded with countless brilliant stars stretching from horizon to horizon. Many believed those stars carried divine meaning. Just as dreams spoke through sleep, the heavens whispered through the night. Before long, raised beds, woven sleeping mats, and carefully designed sleeping spaces spread across much of the ancient world. Humanity had taken another important step. People were no longer simply surviving each night. They were beginning to think about comfort, about cleanliness, about health, about making sleep itself a little more pleasant. The journey toward the modern bedroom had begun. Yet surprisingly, some of history's most uncomfortable nights still lay ahead. Because our next destination is ancient Greece and Rome, where beautiful homes often concealed restless nights, crowded apartments echoed with noise until dawn, and even the wealthiest citizens sometimes struggled to find truly comfortable sleep. Ancient Greece and Rome. When your bed revealed your place in society. The Mediterranean evening arrives with remarkable grace. The blazing afternoon sun softens into warm shades of amber and gold. Long shadows stretch across white stone streets. Merchants begin closing the wooden shutters of their shops. The lively conversations of the marketplace gradually fade into quieter voices. Fishing boats return toward the harbor as seabirds circle lazily overhead. Somewhere nearby, fresh bread is being removed from a clay oven. The scent mingles with olive oil, herbs, and the salty breeze drifting in from the sea. It is the end of another ordinary day, and throughout Greece, thousands of families begin preparing for another ordinary night. By now, humanity has come a long way from sleeping on piles of grass inside caves. Beds exist, bedrooms exist, furniture has become more sophisticated, yet bedtime remains far less comfortable than you might expect. As you quietly step inside the home of a prosperous Greek family, one object immediately captures your attention. Standing against the wall is a beautifully crafted wooden bed known as a klein. Unlike earlier Egyptian beds, this one appears almost elegant. Its legs are carefully carved. Some resemble the paws of lions. Others imitate graceful columns found in temples. The frame itself has been polished until it gleams softly beneath the light of a small oil lamp. At first glance, it looks inviting, but appearances can be wonderfully deceptive. Instead of wooden boards supporting the mattress, strips of leather have been pulled tightly across the frame. They create a surface that bends ever so slightly beneath the weight of the sleeper. Above these straps rests a mattress stuffed with wool, feathers, dried reeds, or straw. Each material has its advantages. Each has its inconveniences. Feathers feel softer, but they constantly shift during the night. Straw is inexpensive, but after months of use it becomes uneven, lumpy, and noisy. Wool provides warmth during chilly winters, yet it also traps dust and tiny insects remarkably well. No matter which filling you choose, you are unlikely to experience the cloud-like comfort promised by modern mattress advertisements. Pillows exist, but they are surprisingly firm. Many are filled with wool or folded cloth rather than soft feathers. They support the head, they do not embrace it. If you woke with a stiff neck, nobody would be particularly surprised. Interestingly, the Greeks do not reserve these beds only for sleeping. During the day, the very same furniture serves another purpose: meals. If you were invited to an elegant dinner, you would not sit upright around a table as most people do today. Instead, you would recline sideways upon one of these beds while servants brought course after course of food. Conversations flowed for hours. Poetry was recited. Music filled the room. Wine was poured generously. To the Greeks, reclining while eating symbolized refinement and education. To a modern visitor, it might simply feel rather awkward. Imagine trying to enjoy dinner while carefully balancing on the edge of your own bed. Now imagine doing so without spilling olive oil onto your blankets. For wealthy Greeks, this arrangement was perfectly ordinary. Elsewhere in the city, life looked rather different. An ordinary laborer's home contains no carved furniture, no decorative bedding, no embroidered blankets. Instead, woven mats lie across a simple wooden platform. Sometimes the platform itself is little more than rough planks resting upon stone supports. Children sleep together. Parents sleep nearby. Grandparents, if still living, occupy whatever space remains. Entire families often share a single room. Privacy is almost unknown. If one child cries during the night, everyone wakes. If someone begins coughing, the entire household hears it. If a neighbor's donkey decides to announce its presence before sunrise, there's little anyone can do except wait patiently. The city itself never becomes entirely silent. Footsteps echo through narrow streets. Dogs bark at passing strangers. Somewhere a pot falls and shatters against stone. Voices drift upward through open windows long after darkness has settled. Even bedtime has become part of urban life. As centuries pass, Greece gradually gives way to a civilization that admires much of Greek culture while expanding nearly everything else. Rome. The city grows into one of the largest urban centers the ancient world has ever seen. Its roads stretch across continents. Its armies march farther than anyone previously imagined possible. Its buildings rise higher with every generation. Yet for ordinary Romans, finding a peaceful night's sleep remains surprisingly difficult. The wealthy live inside spacious villas surrounding quiet courtyards. Their bedrooms are decorated with colorful frescoes showing gardens, birds, flowers, and distant landscapes. Marble columns frame shaded walkways. Small fountains provide the gentle sound of flowing water. Their beds are larger than those of earlier civilizations. Some even feature bronze frames or elaborate ivory decorations. The richest families sleep beneath linen sheets woven so finely they almost seem weightless. Servants prepare the bedroom before nightfall. Oil lamps are trimmed. Blankets are arranged neatly. Doors are secured. Everything appears wonderfully comfortable until you actually lie down. Roman mattresses are still filled with straw, wool, reeds, or feathers. Months of use gradually create uncomfortable hollows. Lumps form where stuffing shifts unevenly. Dust settles deep inside. Replacing the filling requires considerable effort. Bedbugs occasionally discover these warm hiding places long before anyone notices. The frame may be beautiful. The mattress is another matter entirely. Meanwhile, most Romans cannot dream of such luxury. Instead, they rent tiny apartments inside enormous buildings known as insulae. Some rise 5 or even 6 stories above the crowded streets below. From outside, they seem impressive. Inside, life becomes much less appealing. Wooden staircases creak beneath constant footsteps. Thin walls allow every conversation to pass freely from one room to the next. Families squeeze into remarkably small living spaces. Cooking, eating, working, sleeping, everything happens within the same cramped room. As darkness falls, neighbors continue talking, infants cry. Someone argues loudly several doors away. A dog refuses to stop barking. Above your head, another family drags furniture across the floor. Below you, someone begins preparing tomorrow's bread before sunrise. Quiet is a rare luxury. Open windows provide fresh air during the suffocating summer heat. Unfortunately, they also invite mosquitoes inside. Close the window. You overheat. Leave it open. You become a feast for insects. Neither choice feels particularly restful. Smoke creates another problem. Romans cook over open fires. Hundreds of fireplaces burn throughout the city every evening. Their smoke drifts between buildings before slowly settling over rooftops. Bedrooms often smell faintly of ash. Eyes sting. Clothing absorbs the scent. Breathing remains perfectly ordinary to the Romans. A modern traveler might spend the night coughing. Fire itself inspires constant anxiety. Entire neighborhoods consist largely of wood. Oil lamps burn late into the evening. One careless accident can spread flames astonishingly fast. Many Romans fall asleep knowing that disaster could begin while everyone is dreaming. Then there are the streets. Even after sunset, Rome refuses to rest. Carts transporting heavy goods often wait until nighttime when daytime traffic restrictions are lifted. Iron wheels rumble across uneven stone roads. The echoes bounce between buildings. Imagine trying to sleep while wagons thunder beneath your window. For countless Romans, that was simply another ordinary evening. Curiously, historians believe many people in Greece and Rome practice something we now call segmented sleep. Rather than sleeping continuously for 8 hours, many naturally woke in the middle of the night. This was not considered insomnia, it was simply part of life. During these quiet hours, people prayed, added another log to the fire, checked on animals, spoke softly with family members, or simply lay awake watching moonlight filter through the window before drifting peacefully back to sleep. Only centuries later would uninterrupted sleep become the cultural ideal in many parts of the world. Dreams continued to hold great importance. Greek philosophers debated their meaning. Roman writers recorded unusual dreams before important battles or political events. Many believed the gods occasionally communicated through visions seen during sleep. Temples dedicated to healing sometimes welcome visitors, hoping that divine dreams would reveal cures for illness. Night remained mysterious. The sleeping mind seemed capable of traveling where the waking mind could not. As dawn approaches, the city slowly begins stirring once more. Roosters announce the coming day. Bakers light their ovens. Merchants prepare their stalls. The first footsteps echo through the streets. Another night has passed. Some people slept well, many did not. Yet everyone rises to begin another day. Looking back from the comfort of the 21st century, it is easy to admire the marble temples of Greece and the magnificent architecture of Rome. Their achievements changed the world. Their ideas shaped civilizations. But when it came to something as simple as getting a comfortable night's sleep, they were still searching for the perfect bed. And history was about to become even more uncomfortable. Medieval Europe, cold nights, and crowded beds. As the Roman Empire slowly faded, Europe became a land of villages, castles, monasteries, and farms. Marble villas gave way to timber-framed cottages, and bedtime once again became a simpler, though not always more comfortable, affair. The sun disappears behind rolling hills, leaving only a faint orange glow above the rooftops. Farmers return from the fields carrying bundles of firewood. Church bells echo softly across the countryside as smoke curls from thatched chimneys. Another ordinary evening has arrived. You quietly step inside a small peasant cottage. The room is dark except for a modest fire burning in the hearth. Thick wooden beams support the low ceiling, blackened by years of smoke. Everything the family owns fits within this single room. They cook here, eat here, work here, and when night comes, sleep here. Against one wall stands a simple wooden bed. Its mattress is little more than a cloth sack stuffed with straw. Fresh straw offers a surprising amount of support, but over time it becomes flattened, uneven, and uncomfortable. Every movement produces a faint rustling sound as the dry stalks shift beneath the sleeper's weight. The coarse wool blanket resting on top is warm enough for winter nights, although its rough fibers would feel scratchy against modern skin. One by one, the family prepares for bed. Parents lie down first. Then the children climb in beside them. Sometimes a grandparent shares the same space. If a traveler happens to visit the village, even they may be offered a corner of the bed. To us, this seems remarkably crowded. To medieval families, it simply made sense. Beds were expensive and warmth was precious. Sharing blankets meant sharing body heat, which often mattered more than personal space. The room gradually falls silent. Only the crackling fire and the gentle whistle of the wind outside disturb the quiet. Yet the bed is not occupied solely by its human sleepers. Hidden deep inside the straw and wooden frame are tiny companions that no one invited. Fleas, bedbugs, occasionally lice. These insects were an ordinary part of medieval life. People washed when they could, but heating enough water required time, fuel, and effort. Keeping bedding perfectly clean was nearly impossible. A peaceful night's sleep was often interrupted by persistent itching. Still, most people accepted these inconveniences as part of everyday life. Meanwhile, life looked rather different inside the castles of Europe's nobles. A lord's bedroom contained a large wooden four-poster bed surrounded by thick curtains. Today, those curtains appear decorative, but they served an important purpose. Stone castles were cold, very cold. Even roaring fireplaces struggled to warm the enormous rooms. Closing the curtains around the bed trapped precious warmth, creating a small pocket of comfort inside an otherwise chilly chamber. The mattress itself was often filled with feathers rather than straw, making it softer than the beds of ordinary villagers. Luxury, however, did not guarantee privacy. Servants frequently slept nearby, ready to assist if needed during the night. Bedrooms remained busy places rather than the private retreats we know today. Whether rich or poor, bedtime in medieval Europe was rarely perfect. It was cold, crowded, often noisy. Yet after long days of labor, people closed their eyes, pulled heavy blankets around themselves, and hoped morning would arrive quickly. But compared with our next destination, even these chilly cottages could feel surprisingly comfortable. Far to the north, where winter nights stretched endlessly across frozen landscapes, another civilization had learned to sleep in a very different way. Vikings and the long journey to the modern bed. The wind grows colder as we travel north, forests become thicker, mountains rise above deep blue fjords. Winter arrives early and lingers for months. This is the world of the Vikings. As darkness settles over a small Scandinavian village, families gather inside long wooden buildings known as longhouses. From the outside, they appear sturdy and welcoming. Their grass-covered roofs help protect against snow and bitter winds. Inside, the air feels surprisingly warm. A large fire burns in the center of the hall, providing light, warmth, and a place to prepare food. Around the edges of the room stand raised wooden sleeping platforms covered with sheepskins, wool blankets, and animal furs. Compared with a medieval straw mattress, these beds seem almost inviting. Yet they come with challenges of their own. The fire never truly stops burning. Smoke slowly rises towards small openings in the roof, but much of it lingers inside the hall. The smell of burning wood fills every blanket and every piece of clothing. During winter, families often slept together around the warmth of the central hearth. Outside, snowstorms howled through the darkness,